I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Welcome to today's episode. I have Stephanie of Hillside Stitches on today. I hope you guys already know who she is. If not, run, don't walk. Well, I guess metaphorically, because you can't run to Instagram, but go to her Instagram, hillside.stitches, give her a follow. She makes some really cute stuff. She's a quilter, long armor, pattern designer, um, dabbles in bag making, and just all around good time gal. She posts some really fun stuff, and she also loves K-pop. And if you didn't follow along while she was making her Skazoo quilt top, you need to go check it out. If you don't know what that is, I didn't either, but her love of K-pop and the Skazoo kids is just it's infectious. So go check her stuff out. Her new pattern just released called X. It's a bunch of X's on point and they're so cute. And she's going to be doing a quilt along of that pattern in October. So look for that. And otherwise, enjoy the conversation. Well, hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited you're here.
Me too.
Yeah, I've been following you for a while and I love your content and we've interacted like DMs and I just
Mhm.
thought you'd be so fun to have on the show. Plus, you just had a new pattern come out. So we'll talk about that, but I'm just so excited you're here.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be exciting. I'm probably going to be awkward, but that's okay. That's life.
Yeah, I'm awkward too. It's fine. That's just, yeah, it is what it is. So you have Hillside Stitches. That's
Mhm.
your
That's
business
me.
name. Yeah.
hmm
And so you're long arming, pattern designer, scrap quilter, you do all the things.
Yes, I do.
But I want to know how you even got into quilting to get to where you are now.
Um, when I got knocked up, I had four different people promise me a baby quilt,
Oh,
and nobody made one. And I feel like babies need quilts.
yeah.
So I got put on bed rest the last like month of my pregnancy. So I
Mm.
just sat in bed and I cut out fabric with scissors and I sewed it together while I was not supposed to be moving. And I liked it so much that I just kept going. So
Oh,
finally, actually, after like 3 months, bought rotary cutters and everything. Like I was legit just scissors and basic squares, and that was enough for a while.
yeah.
But obviously, I'm a smidge past that.
Yeah. Yeah. You grew up a little.
Yeah, just a little.
Oh my gosh. How long ago was that?
9 years?
Okay. Okay.
Yes, 9 years.
Wow. Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense because your kid's 9, right?
He's almost
Almost 9.
almost 9.
Oh my
He
gosh.
I got in trouble because we went to the dentist the other day and they asked how old he was and I said 8.5. And he did this and made sure she stopped cleaning his teeth. And he's like, I am 8 3/4.
Oh, so
My
sorry.
apologies. I forgot that the month changed. You are right. You are in fact 8 3/4. My bad.
Kids are so funny. They'll like
Yes.
the increments matter. You're like, are you
hmm
sure? They're like,
hmm
seriously, don't mess it up again. You're like, okay.
Yes.
I used
I
to
will try
teach,
my hardest.
yeah, I used to teach third grade. So that age is
Okay.
like my jam where I
Yep.
spent a lot of times and they're just so funny at that age. And they grow so much. Like they change so much from like the beginning to the end and just how independent they become. And it's such a fun thing to watch and be part of.
This is his third week of school and he is in third grade. So
Mm.
he asked me how to get a library pass so that during independent reading, the other children won't bother him and he can just sit in the library. I'm like, I don't know. Ask your teacher. What?
He's like, I need things, mother.
Yes, yes. He's very adamant
Well,
because in the classroom, there are no beanbag chairs, but in the
oh,
library, there are.
yeah, naturally,
Got to be
I'm here
cozy
for
when
it.
you're reading. Yep,
Yeah. And he knows what he wants. That's
he
good.
does. And he's very vocal about
Yeah,
it.
there's worse things.
Yes, that's true.
Could just be never speaking up and end up being a people pleaser like me. Ah.
Mm,
Yeah.
same.
It's so wild to like raise kids that are so different than you and like that poke at the things that you wish you could change about yourself.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. It's tricky.
Slowly, slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep seeing it pop up and it's funny because like it literally took my therapist like telling me point blank, like he like our youngest would just like I love him to death. He's such a cool
Hmm.
kid and he's so independent and he's like no again, he knows what he wants and he just like does what he needs to do to get it. And um but a lot of his behavior would trigger my anxiety and like
Mm.
and I would get so mad. And like I was telling my therapist about it one day, and she just looked at me and she's like, he's just triggering your anxiety. And I was like, oh, like my whole world changed. It was so wild. And then now I keep seeing all these posts pop up that are like, your child will just show you like where you need to heal and all this stuff. And I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I follow a bunch of parenting accounts and I'm like, oh, I never considered that until now. That is okay.
Yeah,
That
it's
makes sense.
interesting. It's
It is.
interesting how it changes your brain, but anyway, back to quilting. It's like so easy to get sidetracked.
It is.
Okay, so you started, what was that like 2015? Did I
That
hear
sounds
that?
right.
Yeah, ish.
Yes, 2015.
Okay, great. Um, and so were you just like finding fabrics online, or did you have a local shop you would go to, or
Joanne. I was
oh,
big into Joanne and Hobby Lobby when I started because I did not know anything else. I did make fabric roses for a really long time and I sold them on Etsy. And I
oh,
have a bunch right here that I can't quite reach. Hold on.
okay. Oh my gosh.
So I was making these for like years, but they're really hard to ship because they're actual sticks. So I had
Okay.
all this fabric left over from these and I just cut up squares from it and then
Oh.
started turning those into quilts. So, yes, lots of Joanne, lots of, chevrons, because that's what was in at the time.
Yeah, definitely. I
Stay
know
there.
sometimes I find fabric still like stashed away that I had from when I first started, which was like I think I started in 2017, but
Okay.
um same. It was like all chevrons and like it's like, oh my God, I die. I love chevron. And now I'm like,
Right?
get it away from
Please
me.
don't. Please,
Yeah,
please don't. Can we stop? Let's do something else. I
right.
will not buy that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Joanne was like our go-to like growing up because my mom always sewed and stuff. So
Hmm.
that's where we used to get fabric. And then my mom was like, we're gonna actually go to these places called quilt shops. And I was like, what?
Fancy.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, to be fair, like I guess like Craft Warehouse is like a chain too, but they have better quilting fabric. Like they'll carry some Moda, they carry grunge, and like they'll carry different, different lines of they used to carry, okay, they used to carry rifle paper.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so the first bits of rifle paper I ever bought was actually from there. And now they don't carry it anymore. They used to carry
Mm.
like pre-cuts and yardage. And so I made this like jelly roll race and I put tons of borders on it to make it big.
Yep.
And then I bought other stuff. I think it was another anyway. I they used to carry it. Now they don't, which
Hmm.
makes me sad. And they've just kind of their fabric selection has kind of dwindled. They used to carry tons of Ruby Star. Now they don't. They used to carry Marine Cracknel. Now they don't. Like,
Ah,
yeah. So hit or miss. But that's where I got all the fabric for my first quilt. And then like I wanted to practice making a different kind of quilt. So then I went to Joann's and I just bought a bunch of fat quarters because I was like, I don't care. This will just be my car quilt. Oh, it was
right?
when
It's a practice.
yeah, like when we first got our long arm, I was like, I want to practice like
Ooh.
on something. And so I just made like a big star and like got some fleece or flannel with avocados on it because
Oh,
why not?
nice. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, anything novelty is like go to Joanne. But if you
Yeah.
want it to last, don't worry about it. Just go
Yep.
somewhere else.
I also, when I first got my long arm, I just called them whole cloth quilts. So I got
Mhm.
a cute print from Joanne and then either flannel or minky for the back. And then
Mhm.
just did that. And that works. Gave them away to, there's a local group that does, um, oh, Project Linus. There's a
Oh yeah.
local group that collects for it. So I just
Okay.
gave all of my test whole cloths to that.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, we have groups that that donate to that a lot here too, so that's cool. Or one of the local quilt shops we have, I worked there for a little bit, but they take donations of fabric so people can
Okay.
come, like, and then groups will come sign, they'll, fill out paperwork or whatever, but then they
Hmm.
can take that fabric and they can use it in their charity work. So it's kind of cool.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's really nice. And there's always people coming in like, can I grab some of this for this? I'm like, absolutely, just sign the book. And
Mhm.
it was really cool to see. And just like what people would bring in, they're like, oh, my aunt just passed away or my mother just passed away and I don't know what to do with all this fabric. And I'm like, come on, we can put it back here. It's okay. You don't have to keep it. But
Right?
yeah, that's really cool. And like such a fun way to practice too, because like you don't have to piece a
Hmm.
quilt. You don't have to spend that time just to practice long arming. And so
Hmm.
I wanted to, but it is kind of nice to remember like you don't have to make a quilt just to quilt. Like
Hmm.
it's I forget sometimes, like I don't know, but so when did you start long arming? Like so you started cutting by scissors and a few months later got all
Yes.
your stuff. And then
Yes.
how long
Um,
into making quilts did you decide to get a long arm?
I was borrowing my mom's Viking
Oh,
sewing machine for a really, really long time before I bought a Juki for myself. And then there was a shop in the town that I no longer live in that rented time on their long arm. So
okay.
I found out about that through uh, I was a receptionist at a construction company, and
Ooh.
the lady I was taking over for had an embroidery machine that she bought from that shop. And so we were talking sewing and stuff. And she was like, "Oh yeah, they have this huge thing. I don't know what it's called. It's like this big and it's in the back room and you go like this." I'm like, "Cool, I know what that is."
Yeah.
So I went over and they made you take a class so that you could learn how to use it, and then you could you paid by the hour.
Hmm.
So you had to buy your own thread, and it's not a computerized one, so it was just free motion or whatever. But
Hmm.
I think I started that probably like 3 years after I started quilting. And
Okay.
then ever since I liked that machine so much, I started saving up for my own. And then once we moved to this house, I think it took me another year before I got Leonard is my long arms name. Um, so I think I've had him for about 2 years now.
Okay.
Could be wrong. 2 years sounds right though.
Yeah, that's so cool. What kind did you get?
I have a Qnique 19. He's just a base model, and then I have the computerized system that goes with it. It's Quilter's Creative Touch is what
Mhm.
he uses. So
Okay.
nothing exciting, still rather expensive, and he does what he needs to do. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's great. I started similarly and in 2018, that's when I learned.
okay.
I yeah, quilted for that learned to piece that first year and started making more tops and then my mom and I took the class at our shop too and when I worked at that shop, that's what I taught the long arming class
Wow, that's
to
so
people.
fun.
It was so fun. I was like, "Oh, I get to be a teacher and not be a teacher at the same time," because
Yeah.
I had left teaching at that
Mhm.
point, but yeah, it was really fun. But we those are APQS machines, and that's
Okay.
what we got because we learned on that, and
Right.
we went to a quilt show to see, and we were pretty dead set that we were going to get an APQS because we're like they're workhorses, and
Hmm.
we're like if we're going to make a business, we want something that we know is going to really hold up to the rigorous work that we're going to put it through, and we went and tried the other machines, and nothing against any other machines because I
Right.
know like people are perfectly happy with what they have. I think it was just that that's what we learned on, and
Yep.
that's what we were comfortable with, and so
It's
anyway.
hard to switch once you get used to something.
Hmm. Yeah, like I had to learn the Bernina, their Q24 B whatever B24. I don't know. Anyway,
Uh.
they're long arm,
Hmm.
and I was like, my brain is broken. Like
It was a
it's
big leap going from just the free motion or the paper ones where you traced with a laser
mhm.
pointer to the actual computerized make it go itself thing.
Yeah,
So it's fun though. It takes a
yeah,
while, but it's fun.
yeah. They're it's definitely a learning curve and like just the different softwares because then I like we have what you can get with APQS is Quilt Path and
Okay.
it's the Grace company, like it's
Yeah.
their programming. Yeah. So it's that same, but it's like, APQS is proprietary side of things,
Mm.
but I don't know how it's different, but it's really similar. Like I've seen people's screens. I'm like, that looks the same. Anyway, but then I had to learn IQ, the IntelliQuilter,
Oh,
because they have an IntelliQuilter on one of their millis and the the bigger model of the APQS. And then they had the Bernina, and that software is so different. I was just like, my head hurts. But but once I learned it all, I was like, I felt it was kind of fun to be able to like go among the three different programs I used all the time because I'd like still work with my mom and on that and then do IQ and do Bernina. And I was like learning all the things. And once you kind of understand how they're like each program is set up, you can kind of figure out how to work it. But like, oh, if I was using mine, I would be doing this, but this is this button. And like, especially with Bernina, it's like all just buttons. There's no words on the screen. You're like,
Oh, no, thank you.
uh, so unless you're like familiar with Berninas and like their button structure and like how they program their machines, it's like
I
it's
would
a
have to pull out the manual every single
yeah.
time and be like, what is this one again?
I had laminated cards and I would just be like,
Yes.
which button am I looking for?
Flashcards. I love that.
Yeah, it was wild. But so did you start your business then, like 2 years ago when you got your machine, or
Technically, Hillside Stitches is turning 6 this year.
oh,
Because I started, I think I turned it into an LLC when I started writing patterns.
okay.
I just have expanded from first only writing patterns, and then I was doing patterns and curated bundles. Like I have all black bundles because I use a lot of black backgrounds, and then I have low volume bundles and whatnot. So I have those in my shop, and then also now, like as of a month ago, I think I have finally decided to start long arming for real people, not just
Mm,
myself too. So yeah, I
okay.
think I think it's turning 6 this year.
Mm,
I'm horrible with numbers, so
that's
it
fine.
time is an illusion. I've
I
been
know.
doing this and I'm doing it.
I do this. I'm a professional. I know.
Yes, I
Like I have a
am.
yeah. I the
I
last
have
like
business cards and everything.
that's so fancy. I know.
I know.
Getting business cards is like, okay, I'm for real now. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
just a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, would you like a business card? Okay. I have them.
Yes, I do. I have them in my wallet and I will put one in your little box with your order when you get something from me.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to get new ones because I just took over the business.
Ooh.
And so I got to get my mom's name off of there.
Uh, well,
Sorry, mom.
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it's been interesting, but yeah, it's fun to have the long arm in my house now.
Yes.
I don't
Short
have to go
commute,
anywhere. Yeah, I don't
right?
have to go anywhere. It's so nice. Um, okay, so you started designing patterns. Hillside Stitches is about 6, we'll say. And
Mhm.
so were you like designing before that and then decided, hey, I can sell these, or were you like how did
I
that come about?
there were not a lot of pumpkin patterns actually, and I was
Mm,
very, very into fall. So I had 2 pumpkin patterns that I had written for myself, and then I had enough people ask me about them and how they could make them and if they could make them and if they could buy them that I figured I already had everything written down. So I might as well just type it up.
yeah.
So that's how the first 2 came about. And then it was kind of that sort of like, well, how do you have so many scrap things and you've done scrap things and they're not all technically traditional blocks. How do you do that? Can you tell me how to do that? So
Yeah.
I kind of just snuck into the scrap area and stayed there. And it's been fun.
Yeah.
Very chaotic, but that's fabric.
Yeah. Like, what's life if it's not chaos?
Yeah.
It's not fun if it's not, I don't think.
No. It's certainly got to be quieter if it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's boring.
Hmm.
Well, that's cool and exciting that people like wanted what you
Hmm.
had. Like, that feels good
It does.
to be recognized for something that you made, put time in and put effort in to make, and that people responded with like, I need that. It's kind of like,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yes. Thank you. I
Yeah.
like that.
You're like, of course I'll share with you for
Hmm.
money. For money.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. It's worth it, I think, too. Like, if people are willing to pay for your work, then why not, you know?
Hmm.
Especially because you did put the time and effort into figuring it all out. And
And there's not a whole lot of patterns that are written exclusively for scraps, too, which is the other
mhm,
way that I got kind of into it. Because even I found a lot of the scrap ones that were out when I first started were still cutting from fat quarters,
mhm,
which like I don't I don't have 12-inch squares in my scrap bucket. I have small things
yeah,
that are scraps that I've used in other projects in my scrap bucket. So,
yeah, yeah. And it lets you be a little more creative. I freak out about scraps because can't, I struggle with like envisioning things coming from scraps and like, but my mom is a genius at it. Like, she literally, I will like get there on a Monday morning and she's like, look at all these quilt tops I made this weekend from scraps. And I'm like, what are you
magic.
talking about? Like, how? I'm like, that was like just this little pile of fabric. And I'm like,
Hmm.
there's no way that's going to make a whole quilt top. And yeah, no, I mean, baby quilt, but still, she's like, yeah,
Hmm.
ta-da. And I'm like, okay, okay, well, I feel really dumb, but that's okay. No,
No,
I love it.
everybody's got their own thing.
Yeah. I love to see it and it's like exciting to me. I just start to panic when I see that many scraps and I try to like even now I'm like trying to figure out like do I have enough fabrics to make this like it's like a friendship rainbow. Like you make a rainbow in two
Oh
halves and
yeah.
then you
Hmm.
gift one to your bestie. I'm supposed to give one to Kate, Quilt with Miss Kate. And she has mine done and have I made hers? No, because I can't like the scrap thing is breaking my brain. So also I it's hard to like I want it to be right, you know? Like
Hmm.
I don't want to like give her something that she doesn't like because that's sad. But anyway, that's just me.
I'm
But
sure she'll love it because it's from you.
I hope so. Yeah. But the world of scraps is so interesting and it is so enticing to me because I want to be able to do it. Like I want my panic to subside so that I could like focus and do something scrappy. So like when people do it and they are successful with it, like it is inspiring. So thank you for being the one of the ones to do it because your stuff is so cute and I love
Thank you.
what you put out there. So it's just encouraging that you can make really cute things with scraps. It
Hmm.
doesn't have to all be freshly bought, curated things from the quilt store. It can be the scraps from other quilts and let those fabrics live on in something new and different. So
Hmm.
it's
I
really
keep
cool.
saying they've already been a quilt, so now you have extras. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't quite turn out,
That's true.
because now you're just playing with it. It's extra.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess if you look at it that way, like it's just an experiment. We're just trying
Hmm.
things. Like it's okay if it doesn't completely work out because you made the thing that those fabrics were intended for.
Hmm.
That's a good way to look at it. And you shift my brain a little. That's good.
Yay.
I like it. Um, so how many patterns do you have in your library now?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I actually don't know.
I'm like, we could
Um,
do research later. It's fine.
some.
Moss e-commerce management is e-commerce support and management for your small business. They offer affordable plans to help you with whatever level of support you need to get yourself back to the parts of your business that you love. By allowing Moss e-commerce management to help with your day-to-day site management tasks, you'll not only save time, but you'll be able to watch your business thrive and grow. So head to mossecommerce.com to check out the service packages they offer to meet your needs and get help growing your small business now. That's mossecommerce.com for the online retail support you need.
According to this, there are 38 of them.
Wow. Prolific.
That feels like a lot.
It does feel like a lot.
That feels like a lot more than I expected there to be.
Wow. Well, that's like six-ish patterns a year over the
Yeah.
last 6 years.
And
So,
not all of them are scraps. Like I I have those 10 that are the paper pieced, the cute little faces.
Yeah,
So those are yardage. I mean, they can be made with scraps. I should make them with scraps. That would be
go try it.
interesting.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun though,
It
probably. I
could.
don't know.
I mean, I probably would keep their faces, the solids, and then do the
Mm,
background scraps, but
yeah,
we'll see.
cute. And okay, so if for those people who are listening and don't know, the cute faces, there are the
There's
care
kazoos.
skazoos. Okay.
Yeah, it's there's a K-pop group that I am overly fond of. They're idiots and very talented and adorable. So they have these little characters, and each character is based on one of the members of the group.
Okay.
So there's 8 little animals, and then their light stick. So
Okay.
those are my little patterns that I made.
They're so cute. Yeah, I was like watching you along as you were making all of them, and I was like, they're freaking adorable. They're
They
so
are.
cute.
They are.
They turned
They
out
have
so good.
one of them has dimples, and I just can't handle it every time. I'm like, I just ah. And then there's another one that has freckles and eyelashes. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah,
Ah, so cute.
so cute. They turned out so good. And like, I'm like, I'm not even a fan, but I love this quilt. Like,
Mhm.
I had never even heard of them before, but now there's a couple of songs in my liked rotation now because I was like, I have to try
Excellent.
to listen to them, obviously, because I
They're
gotta
very
see what
loud.
this.
It's great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
get kind of pumped up and excited. But
Yes.
yeah, that's so fun. And so you've got those guys, and so and then the one you just recently released is called X.
X.
Okay.
Hmm.
There's a lot of X's on it.
Hmm. Yep. I'm horrible at naming things. So it was saved on my computer as X sashing because originally it was just the sashing that was X's.
Mm,
Um, And actually, I started writing it as a lifeguard quilt because I made a quilt for each of the lifeguards that my son has had every
mm,
summer. And then we didn't go to lessons last year because the place where we take them changed everything and we couldn't get in. So
oh,
I just left it on my computer for like 9 months.
yeah.
And then Bean saw it and goes, my teacher needs that one for school this year. I was like, okay, I guess I'll finish writing it. So
Yeah,
it
that's
did not
cool.
come up with a better name than X. X is fine. It's X's. I mean,
It tells you what it is. I think
yep.
sometimes it's hard when quilts have just like random names. I'm like, I can't ever remember the names of those ones because it doesn't make sense why they're named that, which is fine. Like everybody can name their quilts whatever they want. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care. I'm just for my own brain, like I need to be able to like make some kind of mnemonic thing or like it needs to tell me something about the quilt if I'm going to remember it. So that
Same.
makes it works. It works. I was going to say, is
Yes,
there any meaning behind it? But it's X's
it's
and it's great.
X's. And I have no brain capacity in the summer. So
Yeah,
it's X. It's the X quilt because it's X's.
it makes sense. I like it. It's
Yes.
simple. It speaks for itself.
Hmm.
And was it just like, I mean, it was for a lifeguard, but was there a
Hmm.
specific reason why that design popped in your head for that person, or was it just something you wanted to try out?
All of the lifeguard quilts that I've made have had the plus as the starting
Mm,
because, lifeguard.
hmm.
And then I have tried to come up with some twist on it every single time. So the Guardian quilt, the pattern that I have, that's one of the lifeguard ones.
Okay.
Um, and I know I have 4 that started out as lifeguard quilts, and
Mm,
apparently I should look at what I have done in the past. Um, oh, the Pawpaw one, that was another one. Um,
okay.
because that's pluses and bear paws. Um, so yeah, and then
Okay.
this one. So I don't
Cute.
know. Yeah, started as a plus, and then I was like, well, I've already done 2 with more triangles, so might as well just keep it pluses.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Keep it easy,
mhm.
but also on theme, which is great.
Yes, and it's on point, which I have a couple quilts that are on point, and I like. them. I just don't know. I don't like to scale them. I like to pick my on point quilts one size and then that that is the size. There is less math that I have to
Mhm.
do and
Yeah.
less the triangles always get me. So even if like I've been making the yardage versions of them.
Uh-huh.
So for this X quilt, it should be relatively easy, right? It's like three in a row. And then but I still have to put them on the wall and go like this
Uh-huh.
to make sure that I have the triangles going the right way and the
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're fun and they turn out cute. So that's what's important.
Yeah. They're very cute. Like I've been seeing all the versions on Instagram and they are very cute. It's fun. I just recently finished a quilt that's on point and I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking because it's so hard. I'm like, why is
They
this hard?
are. They are. Because you have to do the everything sideways
You're like,
ish.
okay. And I'm like
Everything's on a
laying it
tilt.
down. Yeah. You're like, is this? And then I'm like, oh my God. And I was using material from suits. Like somebody asked me to
Oh,
make a quilt out of their husband's suits for
fancy.
so all the squares were suit materials and then
Okay.
the sashing was just quilting like grunge quilting cotton. But the wool, I was like, I might, I might light it on fire because they don't like it doesn't stay. You have to either
Mhm.
like serge the edges or you have to like zigzag the edges. And even then it still stretches and you're
Ah, I
like a
bet you it
nine.
feels amazing though. The
Yeah.
texture's got to be great.
Yeah. There's like all the different textures out, the different wools and the different like summer suit. Like I don't even know what
Yeah.
it is, like
The
very light. I don't even
I
know.
know. Yep.
Yeah. And it turned out really cool. Like I'm very happy with it.
Good.
And I used the lining of one of the jackets as the little setting squares.
Okay.
Um and it's like very shiny and kind of goldish looking and yeah, it
Ooh.
it turned out really cool. But anyway, that like on point gets me every time and it's so funny
Mhm.
because it's like I see so many people designing quilts that way and I'm like that's so cute, but then I'm like it's on point. I'm not doing it. The only other one I've made on point is from mm, I can't think of her name right now. Anywho, and it was for a client too. And I was like, never again. And then here I am. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I should make this would be so cute for your quilt. And she was like, I love it. And I was like, dang it.
Well, it's your own fault. You suggested
You're right. It is.
it.
I shoot myself in the foot constantly. But yeah, it's like those end triangles are
And then
always
getting
so
everything
tricky.
to line up too, because you
Yes.
gotta, yep,
Yeah.
nope, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah. Yeah.
them
Mm-hmm.
still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, exactly. It's like they're so beautiful and they come out so cool. And it
Mhm.
is that visual impact that you want of like, look at this stunning quilt because when things are, you expect like rows and columns, but so when they're not that way, when they're on tilt, you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what? What's this? It like catches your eye. And so they're exciting to look at. I just don't, it breaks my brain. It's fine. I just need to practice more, right? That's just the thing about it. Just practice more.
Well, you don't have to like it too. It's fine. There are some patterns that I know I won't buy. I love the way they look. I
Hmm.
know I will not have a good time doing that, and I refuse to put myself through that again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's great. Love your pattern. Might buy it, won't make it. Sorry.
Right. It's like, I might support you, but also might be from far, far away.
Yes, I will support you by sharing and commenting and sending it to other people and telling them they should make it because I tiny piecing and I do not get along. Even though I do have scraps, lots of scraps, but like the 1 inch squares and the long skinny strips and the I know I am not precise.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And I'm not glue basting every single piece. That's not my jam.
Mm-mm.
I'm a wing it girl. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, if it's smaller than like a 4 inch square, I don't want to touch it.
uh,
But it's okay. It's just because I get frustrated and I can be hella accurate on bigger pieces, but when it comes to tiny stuff, like it's so hard. I'm like, how is that seam not straight? It literally just went through.
right. And it's
Like,
like 4 stitches. So
yeah.
where did I go wrong?
I'm
How
like,
could I?
how is it crooked? How is it
Mhm,
not just a 1/4 inch? Like it's ah very
mhm.
frustrating.
And then you put more of them next to each other, and then all of a sudden you see you.
Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. It's It's an exercise, that's for sure. And people who do it and are good at it, like
They're amazing.
bow down
Hmm.
because it's a skill that just eludes me. And that's
Hmm.
okay. It's just
Hmm.
not my jam.
Same.
I am more choosy with projects I take on because of ones I've said yes to and then been like, I don't know why I
Why did
said
I
yes
do
to
this?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I made a king size quilt this last winter out of the blocks. She's passed away, but it was Kelly Fannin
Okay.
quilts. She had all these like she had designed like Minecraft blocks and
Yep.
I did
I made a few of hers.
yeah. And so I had made this customer hired me to make one with all of her like a bunch of her Harry Potter
Hmm.
themed blocks and it was a king size and I thought, oh, this will be so great, but not even thinking that like every single block is different and every
Is
single
different.
block needs special cuts of special like
Hmm.
special fabrics. And thankfully that was very scrap friendly because I could use and that was like I went and got remnants of things at the quilt shop if I needed more
Ah,
of a certain
yeah.
color or I was just pulling scraps from the bins of our scraps from the business. And so that was really nice because I was using a lot of scraps in it and didn't need it to buy a ton of yardage. It was just the background. I like had like 9 yards of the background purple.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. But anyway, that I was like, oh, because some of them were like, okay, now cut this 1 inch by 1.5 inch. And I was like, I would rather melt into a puddle on the floor than keep sewing these tiny, tiny pieces. And
Yes.
anyway, that was like she was so happy and she was like I wish every client was like her because she was just like make sure that I can add a tip and like you charge me properly like
Oh.
you make sure you don't undercharge me like I love what you do and she was just like my hype girl. I loved working with her and
Hmm.
she was like so sweet and anyway so yeah it was I still was just like okay well on your next quilt I'm gonna make it a little simpler because this was just like a little more work than I was expecting. And she's like, girl, you do whatever you got to do. Like, I just
I
love your
love
work so
that.
much. I was like, why can't everybody be like you? This is great. Like, I
Yeah.
feel so cool right now. But um anyway, what was I gonna ask you? Oh yeah, and I saw that you make bags. We're gonna segue into
I
that because
guess I do. That is new. That
yeah.
is was an accident, sort of.
Yeah.
So there are okay, my little sister
Mhm.
is amazing and competes in the World Hapkido tournament. So she goes to South Korea and fights people and
Wow.
wins medals. So she asked me if I could make her something. And then my dad found out and he goes, "Oh, I need one of those too. It just has to hold this, this, and this. Can you make this?" So I found a pattern and then I didn't like the way it turned out. So I found a different pattern and then I did the same thing. And the ones that I didn't like for this specific purpose. So I
Mhm.
still make them, apparently.
Mm.
So yeah, I found one that worked for what they wanted and they took them to South Korea, which was exciting. And then
Wow.
had somebody see that when I posted it and ask if I could make her one. And then she just needed it a little bit bigger. So then I found another pattern that's
Mm.
basically the same thing, but bigger and on an
Mm.
angle. So I started making those. And then I had to test the one of the skazoos. I needed to resize it. And
Mhm.
so I was like, oh, well, now I have this 9 inch block and I have nothing to do with it. And I'm not going to turn him into a tiny pillow and I'm not going to turn it into I can turn it into that first bag that I liked the pattern, but it didn't turn out quite right.
Yeah.
So, and then somebody else saw that and they were like, can you make me one of the other members? Like, sure, I'll make bags now.
Why not?
I could do this. I have zippers. I know how this works.
Yeah.
Sort of. I only have to read the directions twice out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Bags are a different ball game for
They
sure.
are. They are. I have definitely had help from friends in video calls where I am holding the papers like this, angrily reading directions out loud. And they're like, "Oh, that's really easy, honey. Just calm down and then flip it over." Like, "Great.
Awesome. Glad it's
Thank
easy for
you."
you. Yeah.
Yes. I
I,
appreciate you. I'm still upset.
yeah, I'm just gonna be mad for 5 more minutes.
Yes. And then when it works, I'll be like, oh, look at this. I did
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally relate. I had never made a bag before. And then um Lonnie over at Having So Much Fun, she has her BFF bag pattern that she put out. And like right after I interviewed her, she's like, she gifted me the pattern. And I was like, thank you so
Ooh.
much. So excited. Took forever. And then my mom and I were like, we need bags, cute, like fanny packs for QuiltCon. And I was like, we should make the BFF bags.
Perfect timing then.
Yeah. So I had a piece of like already quilted fabrics because I'd gotten this like rifle paper and coordinating, yeah, background to, I quilted that together with double batting and made like a laptop case. Oh, I have it right here. I'll show
Nice.
you because it's so cute. Look at her.
Ooh.
Isn't she
Their
pretty?
florals are so pretty.
I know. And then
Ooh.
there's the inside. So it's this like, it's not, oh, sorry, my camera keeps like, anyway. So that's it. And just like a little top zipper. And so my laptop just like slides right in there.
Yeah.
And I had a yard of each and just quilted them together. And so we still had over half a yard left because that
Okay.
didn't take that much.
Yeah.
And we made our front and back panels out of that quilted material. And we still had some of that background fabric left as like just yardage. And so we both made our first ones out of that. But that was not a great idea because it was so thick and
Yeah.
like where you needed to put the straps and like the hooks for the hardware and stuff. It just got so thick. And so the next one I made was just out of, I then made three in a row because my mom and sister and I all wanted different ones,
Hmm.
and we all picked our fabrics, and so we all had the same base ruby star fabric, and then but like each of our front pockets was different, and each
Hmm.
of us had like a different inside like fabric and different pockets, and it was just, and then but I ended up making all three of them, and I was like, you guys suck. They're like, what? I'm like, you didn't help at all.
Did they
They're
help
like,
pick fabrics?
they did. They did. And to be fair, my sister was cutting everything out for me.
Okay.
I ended up sewing everything. And I was like, Michelle, you're the one who does this. That's my mom. And she was like, you're doing fine. I was like, ma'am, I don't want to do this. No, it was fine. And Lonnie's pattern is great. It's really, honestly, once you know what to do, it's easy. So,
Hmm.
but it's one of those things where I was like, what does this mean? My
It's a
mom's like,
different language, I
yeah,
swear.
yeah,
The
it
first
really
time
is.
I was reading out loud because I was having such problems with it. Like I don't know what this I listen. And so I was reading it out loud and
Mhm.
my son is sitting in the playroom with me and he goes, "What language are you speaking, Mom?" It's like, "Are English angrily."
Yeah.
I'm trying. I
What
swear.
language?
Yes. It's like I don't recognize half those words. Like, me neither. I'll give him a goog later.
Yeah.
Ah,
You're like, same kid.
yeah.
I'm in the same boat. That's why I'm reading it out loud.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's tricky, but well, they've turned out cute. I mean, I've seen your posts about your bags, and
Thank you. I don't show the ones that don't turn out cute though.
well, that's all right. You don't
Yeah.
have to show those, but
I have plenty. They're sitting somewhere in a box.
you're
They'll
like,
get
those are,
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
eventually.
They're just not for sale, right?
No,
Who wants these defective bags?
no. I mean, they're not defective. They're just not as pretty as they could be. They still function.
Yeah. But if they're not as pretty as the, in my mind, that's defective. I'm like, if I don't
Uh,
want it on my body because I don't
that's
like
true.
how it looks, that's defective,
Somebody will like it, I am sure.
probably.
I just don't.
Yeah. I can't even tell you. I crochet a lot, but I crocheted this
Okay.
little, like, it's supposed to be like a market bag. And this was like years ago. And we used to do this like holiday craft bazaar, and we'd always have a booth, but we would make like wooden decorations, like take fence
Fun.
posts and cut them up and make like these big snowman heads that you could like hang on the outside of your house, and like big stars, and we'd wrap them
Okay.
in lights and all that stuff and sell that. And I would always have like a few crocheted items. And I made this bag was so ugly. Like I didn't read the directions right. It was supposed to be chevron, like all the way
Of
around
course.
with different
Uh-huh.
colors, and it didn't work out. And it was like you could tell where I messed up because the colors were just like weird and like
Mm,
splotchy. And I was like, I'm just gonna put this thing out here for $5. Like I don't use it because I don't like how it looks. I hate it. And I'm like, what a waste. And so maybe somebody will like it. And this girl walked by the booth one day and it was like we were in like the last hour of the last day of
mhm.
this thing. And she was like, oh my gosh, this bag is so beautiful. And I was like, thank you, I made it. And she's like, really? She's like, how much is it? And I was like, it's on special since we're about to close. It's $5. And she was like, oh my God, oh my gosh. She like got her wallet. She was like shaking, gave me $5. I was like, thank you so much. She was like, oh my God, I love this bag so much. And I was like,
Good.
okay,
I'm
all
glad.
right. Well, here we go. Like
Yep.
I kind of felt bad because I like hated it so much for so long, but this girl was just like in love with it. And I was like, okay, well, it was made well. It just the
Mhm.
color blocking just didn't come out right because I can't read apparently. So also crochet directions are if you think reading a bag pattern is bad,
Mhm.
my God. It's like all the abbreviations and like the stitch counting and like
Yes.
if you show it to anybody who's never crocheted before, they're like, what is that? And I'm like,
I
I
can
can't.
crochet a line.
Yeah.
It's very lovely long single chain. That is.
Yeah.
I took crocheting lessons from someone for years, and I can still only manage the chain. I don't, it doesn't, mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't like it.
Yeah. It's not for everybody. It's
No,
hard. It's
it
weird.
is.
And it's like mathematically so cool. Have you ever seen like my husband found this TED talk randomly a few years ago, but these this like collective of crocheters, they made a replica of a piece of the like the coral reef.
Oh,
And because of the nature of crochet and the way that the stitches are made and how you can increase, decrease, like
hmm,
whatever, do what you need to do, they mathematically were able to accurately create like coral and like the sea life, like sea plants and creatures out of crochet because of how it works. And so
that's amazing.
it was so cool. And I was like, oh my God, I could never. I could because I know it's like once you know the stitches, like I don't know. It's wild what people come up with. But anyway, that was just that blew my mind because
I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds really cool, though.
yeah, it was incredible and just like the details and the intricate, like because I think you can get close on some things, but they were like taking measurements and making sure everything was accurate. I don't even know. I haven't seen like watched the video in years,
Hmm.
so like I couldn't tell you why they were doing it or what it was.
For
But
fun.
yeah, for fun. I mean, honestly, why not? If you can, why not? Anyway, it was just wild. And I think that's what I love about crochet still is just like the versatility of how like what you can do with it. And it's just so different from knitting. I think people like they knit so fast and I'm like, yeah, because you're doing multiple stitches at once. Whereas like you keep it, whereas crochet, you're having to do every single one separately. And anyway, you can do
One
two
of my
usually. Oh, go for it.
sisters, one of my other sisters, I have three sisters, so
Okay.
not the little sister who fights, but one of my other sisters, both crochets and knits. And I bought her a pattern. I'm like, I don't understand this. Can you make this for me, please? It's a raccoon in a
Oh,
trash can, and then you like flip it or something so that the lid comes up and the raccoon hides.
yeah.
So she said that she's been working on and off on it. And then I was over at her house the other day and she's like, I found this pattern and it is a panda and I don't think it's right. And she's just sitting there while talking to me. And then she's like, this is the head. Like, how? Okay, thank you. It's
Yeah.
that looks, I mean, it's a purple panda right now, but this is cool. Good for you. Not only can you read the directions and do it correctly while holding a conversation and watching your children, all
Yeah.
at like, I can't. I
Yeah.
can't even read the directions. Thank you. Good for you. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people get really like really good at it. I think again, if it's something that like clicks in your brain, like some people are really great at, you know, foundation paper piecing because their brain works that way. I can do it,
Mhm.
but it's hard and I mess it up all the time. But it took me so many tries to just figure out a simple thing. It's like
Mhm.
my brain doesn't work like that. And like the scrappiness, like that's a hurdle that I would like to be able to jump over one day, but it's like that's just not where my brain lives at this time. And
Start with two colors
yeah,
for
okay.
scraps. That's what I always tell people. Start with two colors. So like I have the low volume and pink quilt. Pink is pink.
Mm-hmm.
Just use pink.
Yeah,
And then you can figure out from there if you like light pink with dark pink or if medium pink is its own color and then you can work from that. But that's that's your starting point. Pick two
that's a good,
colors.
yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea because I think it does. It gets overwhelming of like, what do I pick? And do these match? And does this go? And do I have enough of this? And
Hmm.
all the
And the
what
more
ifs.
complicated the block or more complicated the pattern and the more colors you have, the harder it gets. But
Mm-hmm.
start with two.
Yeah.
Two you can do. I have faith.
Okay. I'll figure it out. I want to, not need to,
Start
but
small.
I want to. Yeah. I'll just
A baby
fine.
quilt in two colors, and if you don't like it, you can donate it.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
a practice piece.
That's true. And, it would be good for me to clear out my scrap bins just to make room for all the scraps that I just like because I'm constantly making quilts for clients, it's like I always am getting new scraps and
Hmm.
my black and white bin is full right now.
Ah, I love black and white quilts.
Yeah, I do too. My mom does too. That's like her big anytime we see black and white fabric, she's like, "Ooh, what's this?" I'm like, Mom. She's like,
Yes.
"But don't I need it for something?" I'm like, "No."
My
We can
dad went with me to a fabric store that's just over an hour away,
Mhm,
and we were walking through the shop, and I'm just like, "Ooh, but this one is, I don't have this one at home."
mhm.
He's like, "How many are you going to get?" A lot, probably.
You're like,
And
"I
he
had to
ended,
drive a long way to get here."
right? Like, you brought the truck, sir. What do you expect? You got a whole, this is more than I can carry.
Yeah. You're like, "Sir,
Hmm.
you're enabling this. It's fine."
Hmm. Hmm. It
And
was your idea. I mean,
yeah,
we originally went to buy spices and ended up at the quilt shop, but whose fault is that? You're the one driving.
right? You could have said no. Oops, sorry, I forgot
Yes.
to stop.
Yes. You didn't have to ask me for directions on how to get there.
Yeah. You're like, "And I'm your daughter, so you can't tell me no now."
He did end up carrying basically every bolt that I picked up to the counter too and telling the ladies there, and they were all, "Oh,
Oh,
he's so wonderful. What a good dad." I'm like, "Yep,
you're like, "I know."
yep. Make him carry everything because you don't have carts in the store because
Oh,
why would you? Nobody buys carts worth of fabric.
oh my gosh, I do.
Certainly not me."
Thank God our quilt shop has a cart. Like they have these cute little cart. They
The
actually
tiny
just
little, yeah.
they just upgraded and they're a little bit bigger. They're still smaller, the
Hmm.
smaller carts, but they're a little bit bigger and they're so like sturdy. I was like, they were like, I know, look at them. I was like, you guys, these carts. They were like, I know, aren't they so great?
We get excited about the best things.
I know, but I'm like, I can hold so much more fabric now because they would get so full and it has like this kind of like it has like these like on shopping carts like at the grocery store they have them, but like they'll have like the kind of rounded
Oh yeah.
they like stick up and you're supposed to be able to like hang bags or hang things from it and they have those on it so you can like hang your bag, your purse and so the whole thing stays open and anyway, I
Fancy.
it was really nice. But anyway, I yeah, it's like when you're shopping, you gotta shop, especially if you have to go over an hour
Hmm.
to go to the quilt shop. Do you not have anything in your town?
There is one in
Okay.
town. She is open on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays for a
Oh,
couple of hours.
okay.
And
Okay.
it's a very impressive shop. And I am there all the time. And they all know me by name, but they're only open
Very
a
small.
tiny bit. And uh, she carries a lot of modern stuff.
Ooh.
And she has a room full of solids. And I love that. But she does not carry the solids that I use.
Oh,
And there's more different varieties that I am interested in than
gotcha.
is at just the shop. So usually I end up shopping online because I do not feel like driving an hour to maybe find something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
If I happen to be up in that area, I will absolutely stop at all of the quilt shops.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hard. And it is. That's like by the time you drive the 2 hours round trip,
Hmm.
how much gas have you spent? And then also you could have paid less in shipping or free shipping
Hmm.
and gotten what you needed. Yeah, that's like, because that's like, you have to plan for that. You have to make a day of it kind of thing.
Yes.
Ugh, that's wild. I kind of take for granted that I have quilt shops around. Like, I mean, we obviously have Joanne and like I was telling you, Craft
Hmm.
Warehouse, but we also have like the one I was telling you where I worked. And we have another one, um, like in the next town, which is like 15 minutes away. But
Oh.
yeah, it's like everything's connected. It's like a big valley and there's like four towns, but there you can't tell where one is and one
Ah,
stops and one starts. And anyway, um, but they have more moderns. Like they'll carry more Ruby Star, they'll carry more of the Tula, and they carry
mhm.
tons and tons of Minky, different colors and stuff.
Yes.
And
The
so
bungalow has an entire overflowing room full of minky and flannel, and I just touch it while I'm
yeah,
waiting for
you
the.
just like walk by and touch all
It's
the
so
colors.
lovely.
Hmm.
Ugh.
I sell it too out of my shop and I use it on client quilts a lot because I convince people to use Minky. I'm like, you want Minky on the back of this quilt? They're like, oh, I do. I'm like, you absolutely do.
See, I like crinkle though. I am a crinkle
Yeah,
girl. So I'm like, you can send me Minky to quilt, but just know that it will not crinkle at all.
yeah, yeah. The
Keep
back
that in
definitely
mind.
won't. Yeah, yeah. The back definitely won't crinkle, but it's cozy. I have a
It
lot
is.
of Minky quilts, like that one on the couch, that one, the one above.
Ooh, ooh.
It's a lot, but that's it. Like three of the 20 quilts I have in my house. I
Oh,
have a lot.
I don't
It's
think I have any minky ones at mine though.
mm, I just love it. I got obsessed.
Mm,
I put it on my very first quilt. My friend was like, because she was long arming it for me, and then my other friend was going to bind it for me because they had just barely taught me how to put a quilt top together.
okay.
And there she was like, you want Minky, and I was like, you're right, I do. So I went and picked it out. She quilted it for me, and it's still so good. And then we all made jelly roll race quilts, besties quilts together, and we all put Minky on the back of ours. And yeah. And then when we got the business, my mom and I were like, should we sell Minky? Because we use it a lot and we want to be able to provide it to customers. And so yeah.
Then it just makes sense.
Yeah. So I am a Shannon retailer.
Lovely.
I need to get more, but like I don't know where I'm gonna put it in my house now. So
Yeah,
that's a that's an issue. But
it
anyway,
it is. You can see I have bolts right here. This is my half office and half fabric storage room.
nice. Yeah. I took over half of my garage, so I'm still having to figure out like where everything's gonna go. I want to keep everything out because I have a cat and I want to keep every
Okay,
fabric client thing out of the house just to keep it pet free and she doesn't go out in the garage. So
that makes sense then.
um but yeah, I'm like, where would I even put it? I don't know. It's a trick, but we'll figure it out.
Mhm.
So what solids do you use?
I am a Kona girl,
Okay,
and
nice.
the bungalow carries some Kona, but she is mostly Bella.
Okay.
And I have the Kona color swatches in
Mm-hmm.
my sewing room, and the I use EQ8
Mm-hmm.
when I design things, and I have all of the Kona colors in there too. So
Nice.
I like the way that they hold up. I like the way they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's what I have the chips for. So it makes sense for me to continue using it rather than trying to match
Yeah.
tiny little things in the store. Like, this isn't quite.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. When it's not quite right, it's like it yeah. I totally get that. I we also have another shop in town. She's not like a you can't just like go in there. I mean,
mhm.
sometimes I do just because she lets me because she knows that like I'm a business and I'm there like picking for clients and that I
Okay.
need to see them in person sometimes. And anyway, it's called Sofinity and she has every line of solids. She has Kona, she has Bella, she
Ooh.
has Art
Does she
Gallery.
have the Tula too?
I don't know if she has Tula yet. I think she's working on that. And then she just got the 24/7 solids, which are, I don't know where they come from.
Neither do I,
They
actually.
she was like, you have to touch this, feel this. And it's like Kona and Art Gallery had a baby. So it's the brushed
Ooh,
cotton like the Art Gallery, but it's the same weave as the quilting cotton. So it's not like the
fancy.
poplin like Art Gallery is.
Hmm.
It's the normal quilting cotton, but it has the feel because they use the brush cotton. And I was like, Angela, I'm going to wrap my body in all of this. She's like, I know, aren't they delicious? And the Kona buttered pecan, toasted pecan.
Mm,
I just recently used that in a quilt and oh my god, it's gorgeous. There is not another color like that in any other line of solids except for 24/7. She pulled their equivalent to what that would be and we
yeah,
laid it side by side. And we were like, that is literally
a
almost
perfect
exact.
match.
Yeah, it
Ah,
was like one, maybe like one hair lighter, but it was like,
close enough is good enough.
I was like, oh shit. Anyway, but yeah, she like that's so nice. And she does like super fast online shipping and um yeah, but she carries like all the solids. So that's nice because it's like if you're looking for a specific one, and
Hmm.
I usually am, I know
Hmm.
I can go get it from her or I can just order it and I can go pick it up or have it delivered the very next day. So like
I love that.
yeah, it's a really nice option. And I didn't even realize she was here for the longest time. And then I had a client being like, oh, you know, that place, like she just all she sells is solids. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you know, out in Meridian. And I was like, she's like, she won't let me shop there. And I was like, I'm so confused right now. And so I finally looked it up and I was like, oh my God, mom, they're like right out in Meridian. And so I messaged her and I was like, hey, I have this client quilt and I really need to color match. Da, da, da. She's like, oh, come on out. And I was like, what? And so she like let me come in the back and see all the fabrics and
Fancy. You're
bought the
fancy now.
I know, I feel really cool. Color cards and she does sell patterns and she does sell she just got into like cross stitch too. So she has all the things to do
Ooh.
these cute little cross stitch patterns and she has the hoops and the flosses
Uh-huh.
and the patterns and yeah, so cute. And she carries some notions too. So yeah, Sofinity, like if you need any solids, if you can't find them anywhere else, she's like the best. But anyway, I
Good to know.
just yeah,
I'm
like
gonna make a
sharing.
note.
Yeah, do it. Do it. It's great. And she does sell things in fat quarters too. Like anyway, I'll stop
Oh,
talking about it. Yeah,
yeah,
she
you don't
has
have
like
to. I,
these like cases of all the fat quarters that she has cut from all the different colors and I just like go rifle through them. It's so fun. Anyway, I just love fabric so much and I've
right? It's so pretty, and there's so many things that you can do with it.
yeah, yeah. It's incredible. And it's so fun to like talk to other people who get it because I just think for so long I didn't have a lot of people who cared about fabric as much as I do and it helps that my best friends all quilt. Not like we all they don't quilt as much as I do, but
They
they
still
also
understand it.
they understand it and they also didn't start businesses. So, um but it is nice and to just get to talk to other people out in the quilting community and who we all have our own like little niches and
Mhm.
personalities within it but it's like it's just so nice to make connections of with people who speak the language of fabric
Yes.
so it's really nice but well I have loved talking to you today and getting to know you and learning about your quilting journey and your new pattern is out. So that's exciting. So if
Yeah.
not nobody, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, they can go check it out. I'm like, that didn't come out right. Um, and they can check out your shop to see what fabric bundles you
Mhm.
have. And if people want anything long armed by you, they can check out your books and
Yeah.
see what you've got available. And
I am doing a quilt along for X, I have
okay,
decided. So in
okay,
October, I
okay,
have a handful of people who have already asked if when it's going to be. So I'm doing a 4 week quilt along because it's
Okay.
not an extremely difficult. It's not, hmm, it's a cute pattern. It's a confident beginner pattern because it's on
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
So I thought about making it longer, but like it really, the last yardage top that I put together took me 5 hours from cutting
Mm,
to assembly. So the scrap version will take longer, obviously, because it'll probably take me forever just to cut what I need.
mhm.
But yeah, it's 4 weeks starting in October. It's gonna be fun.
Yay. Okay. Well, I'll put that in the show notes too, just so it's a reminder for people. And then I'll put links to your Instagram and your shop. But if people don't know, where can they find you online?
I mostly am on Instagram pretty much 24/7. Um, but so I'm hillside.stitches is my Instagram, and then I have a website that's just hillsidestitches.com. And I have a shop there, and I have a blog there, and I do send out a newsletter sometimes. Sometimes,
Yeah.
very rarely. I mean to do it more, and then life happens, and I don't. So
Yeah.
sometimes there's a newsletter.
It's
Now
fine.
I pretty much just do the newsletter when I have something coming out. I tried to do it more. It maybe I'll get around to it again this
Yeah.
year.
I mean,
And if not, that's okay too.
yeah, exactly. You can do what your capacity allows you to do, and
Hmm.
people just have to deal with it because it's fine.
Yep. And it is just me. I
Yeah.
don't have any other employees or anything like that. So this
Yeah.
is what you get.
Yay. Pretty awesome. Which, people don't like it, they can go somewhere else. But
Hmm.
I like it, and I'm happy that you decided to join me today and be on
Me
the
too.
show so people can
Yeah.
get to know you even more. If they don't follow you on Instagram, go, you won't regret it. I have followed you for a while, like I said, and I love what you put out, and I just feel like things you post resonate with me. And so it's just really fun to
Thank
see
you.
your content and your beautiful quilts and your long arming. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
But thanks again, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.